All right. Hi there. Tim Nash here. With Smokin Realty. Welcome to the first episode of The Process. What is The Process? Well, I'm still trying to maybe figure that out. And I'm here today. I'm here with T1 Entertainment. And I'm here with Matt Miller, who is the owner, proprietor, full-time staff with Back 40 BBQ. You want to say hi, Matt?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Okay, but so anyway, this is the process, right? So I'm a commercial realtor here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I've been in commercial real estate. I've been in real estate for 7 years. I've been in commercial real estate now for about a little over a year, and what I see when it comes to small business owners is I constantly see kind of the questions. How do I do it? How do I actually do it? As in, how do I start my own business? How do I make the necessary steps in order for it to, it's not even how do I make it succeed. It's how do I just get things started? And it's almost like once I get started, then how do I succeed at doing it? Right.
Right.
What if I fail? If I do fail, did I fail, or did I just learn a valuable lesson, and do I keep moving forward? And then how do other businesses succeed? How did they do it? What was the key to their success? So my goal with this podcast, so it's going to be a 12 episode series, and that's going to be season 1. Hopefully there'll be a season 2. But my goal with this 12-part series, and we're going to do one a month, is to follow. This season, it's going to be my friend Matt with Back 40 BBQ, and talk to him really from like step 0, and then kind of, by the time we get to episode 3 or episode 4, kind of catch everybody up to where Matt is now, and then kind of follow Matt over the next year, and we'll bring in some guests, we'll bring in subject matter experts, and with the whole purpose of really, one, watching in real time a small business owner go through what he needs to go through for him to see success, and then also with that, and then also with bringing in the subject matter experts, serving as a resource, maybe not necessarily a model, because I know that all small business owners are going to do it different ways, but serve as a resource for small business owners to use to help them get their small business started and hopefully see success. So that's really what the process is. And that's why I'm calling it The Process. But again, I'm here with T1 Entertainment. My buddy Tone is handling everything. Tone, you can say hi if you'd like.
Hello, if you can hear me, I'm here.
Really appreciate you letting us use the space, and this is available to other people here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. If you have a great idea for a podcast, Tone is happy to help you out. So now what I'm trying to do right now is access my out. There it is. There's my outline. So, okay. So with episode 1, what I really wanted to talk about was, I wanted to talk about the dream, because I feel like with all small business owners, it starts with a dream, a passion. And so now I'm going to stop talking for a few minutes, I think. And what I want to do is I want Matt, and I'll guide you, Matt. Don't worry.
Thank God.
So Back 40 BBQ. So obviously barbecue.
Yep.
Smoking meat.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So can you just reach back and can you give me like a first experience with barbecue? Not even the first time you smoked meat, but like a first experience with barbecue or an early memory.
All right, this is going to be funny, but so when I was a kid, everybody thought barbecue was grilling. Okay.
Oh, sure.
So kind of grew up in a lower middle class to poor family, oldest of 4. So our barbecue was, if you get those tubs of Lloyd's barbecue pulled pork.
Oh, yeah.
I think about it now, and I'm just like, God, that's terrible. But that was kind of an experience. We thought that was the biggest deal ever. Barbecue itself probably didn't have a ton of exposure, but passion in cooking, passion in serving people has been the biggest thing. I learned how to cook from my mother and my grandmother. Pretty typical story. I think that's where most people learn, is mom and grandma.
What was the first thing that you remember cooking for somebody else? Not specifically for yourself, but for somebody else.
Barbecue wise or anything?
Anything.
Anything. Okay. At home, learning, it was probably breakfast. That's probably, the simplest thing is learning how to make eggs or something like that. I know in my grandmother's kitchen, it was a really big deal. We would go over there and we'd make these homemade donuts. So basically you'd get like the cans of biscuits or whatever. You get a thimble, you kind of take the middle out.
Oh yeah.
She'd get her little pot, put it on the stove, get the oil going, and we'd fry them, and then you'd put them in cinnamon sugar, and that's just a really good core memory for me is, just like I said, spending time with grandma in the kitchen and that sort of thing. And that was, I don't know, it was just, food is home, it's love, it's family, it's community, it's so many different things. So that's why it's, not just, throwing some meat on a grill and smoking it and here you go. Thanks for playing.
Sure.
There's a lot of love that's put into it and a lot of thought. Everybody has their thing, that they're good at. And for me, it's just kind of, I don't know what it is, but it's being able to experiment with flavors and taking things and putting passion in it and putting love in it and a lot of fat and making it taste good,
Oh, and it is amazing. Plug number one of many, Back 40 Barbecue guys. It's so good. No, I can totally relate to that. I'm still, my sister and her family are actually coming to town this weekend from Denver.
Nice.
And I made eggs and I made breakfast for my sister, probably starting like when I was like 11 or 12 years old, and she was probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm gonna make breakfast at some point in time, whether we're visiting them or they're visiting us. And my sister always says to her kids, "Uncle Tim makes the best breakfast." I always get that. Yep. And then they're coming here this weekend, and I got to make chicken noodle soup because I do chicken noodle soup good. And I got to do my I'll do a pork butt in a slow cooker with sauerkraut and Granny Smith apples and sesame and some onion, and get that slow cooker going.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, yeah, I think so many people can relate to that, to that feeling. So that's awesome. And so now talk about the first time. Like when did you smoke? Like when did you smoke something for the first time?
So it's funny. So I, like I said, love to cook. Always love to cook. Do the majority of cooking in the house, but my wife does everything else. Shout out Kim. But so I got my first smoker Christmas 2020. So not that long ago. And, it's just a little Oklahoma Joe Highland offset smoker. For those of you who don't know, that just means it's wood burning, not like the pellet grills, not the set it and forget it sort of situation. And I remember my dad asking me, he's like, "Are you sure this is what you really want? Because it's going to be very labor intense." I was like, yeah, Dad. Well, Dad always knows best, to be quite frank. But the thing is it didn't stop my love of it. So I probably, it's winter or whatever. So I probably waited a good, 3 weeks to a month before I first fired it up. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube. Tell you what, YouTube can be the absolute worst thing in the world, but it can also be the best thing if you're trying to learn something. And so I watched a lot of YouTube. Specifically, I was looking for people who smoked on that specific kind of smoker. And I remember Cooking with Rye is the channel that I spent a lot of time on because he would use that specific smoker.
And we're talking rye as that's the guy, not rye like whiskey.
Yeah, not
that was rye when I was like cooking with rye whiskey. Interesting.
No. I mean, I don't hate that idea, but no. So yeah, cooking with rye, and just kind of playing around and you know, kind of one of the easiest things to kind of start off with is a pork butt. Super forgiving. You know, because when you're learning, the most important thing about any of that stuff is fire control and being able to maintain temps. The smaller the smoker, the more difficult that is, as strange as that is, because there's not, you know, you have to manage the size of your pieces of wood, your splits, that sort of thing. So I did a pork butt, and like, I thought it was the greatest thing that I'd ever tasted in my entire life. You know, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, I've had this. I've been to barbecue restaurants, but now I can do this?
Yeah.
You know, and obviously a pork butt is a big piece of meat. It was starts out at like probably 7 to 8 pounds, and usually you get about half of that in meat. So it's like, okay, I've got 3 to 4 pounds. What do I do with this? So I remember we had invited some friends over, and, you know, I was like, hey, we'll provide the meat. You guys bring whatever. And they were like, this is really, really good. And, you know, that helps your ego a little bit and makes you feel good. And the nice thing is at the time I was working at a big box retail and had done that for 20 years. And so that was kind of my incubator for being able to grow, let people try things. And that's kind of where it started, is I, you know, started making stuff and then expanding beyond pork butt, and then I do ribs. And I probably didn't do anything really difficult for the first year because I wanted to get a good feel of what I was doing. You know what I mean?
And now what I'll do is I'll just kind of insert myself here, because I met you through our mutual friend, Zach Pattison.
Yes.
Fellow big box retail employee.
Yes.
And I remember he gosh, I can't remember. He was just raving about your food, and he was talking about how you were trying to kind of get your catering business going at the time, get the catering up and going. And so then we did. He had me come over to your house. It'll be 2 winters ago this winter, and
Lunch with friends. Yeah.
Yep. You can check out the Lunch with Friends episode on my my YouTube channel. And I think that the food was great, number one. But number two, what I saw kind of with you and just with your support group is just, one, how much everybody loved you. Everybody just loved you so much, and everybody was so supportive, and how you kind of took care of your friends and they're taking care of you. And that goes on to right now. And we can talk a little bit more about that as we go further down this conversation about how your friends have kind of been there for you. But like, it was such a, the product is great, and not to sanitize what it is you do, because your smoked meats and your mac and cheese and your beans are amazing, but we'll just call it the product, so to kind of make it, so we can kind of make it universal.
Yeah.
The product was amazing, but the thing that I really noticed was that support group that you had around you. And how, like, I mean, like, if there's one thing that you could probably chalk up to just having the courage to kind of take those first steps, it's having that support group. I think that's, you know, I think that's huge, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But okay, so let's talk about now kind of how you went from, okay, my friends like this, to I'm gonna sell this. I mean, you know, free samples are nice, but I might have something here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think, you know, working where I worked, as I said, you know, I'd been with with big box retailer. Whatever.
It's Target, guys.
It's Target.
That's where they worked at.
I don't know if anybody knew that, but I was.
I don't think Target can come after you for.
I hope not.
It's not like you're bad mouthing them. You worked for 20 years.
Not at all. At least not on camera anyway. But no. So we, you know, friends, like you said, tons and tons of support. My wife obviously is my number one supporter. She's the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would try stuff. I would bring stuff into the store and let people try it. And then I worked probably the last 6-7 years for Target on the front end. And so I had the largest team in the store. So you'd bring some stuff in and people would try it. And then it got to the point where people were like, hey, if I give you some money, would you do X? You know, and sometimes it was, hey, I will buy the item. Will you just smoke it? And
Sure.
then I will. And I was like, sure, you know. And it just got popular. So to where it was like, okay, well, I guess, you know, instead of doing this, you know, once a month, I end up doing it, you know, 2-3 times a month. And then next, you know, it's at least once a week. And then it's more than once a week. And then it's like,
So you started basically working for free for your friends. They were
Yeah.
providing you the materials you needed, but
Yeah.
you were basically like doing free smoking.
yeah,
smoke sessions.
I would charge them a little bit just to, you know, just to make it worth the while, you know,
Yeah.
it pay for the seasoning, pay for the, you know, the time and the wood and that sort of thing. But, you know, yeah, in essence, it just kind of started out, you know, that way very organically. And then it just kind of went from there. And it just got to the point where it was like, okay, I love this. This is fantastic. It definitely went into a place where I never thought it would. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I'm just like, okay. You know, it was a kind of a combination between my absolute love of that and my dissatisfaction of where I was professionally in my life and how I was feeling. And things came, you know, eventually come to a head, and, you know, you start thinking.
Yep. So, and I think what I want to do, like, so Tone, do you have anything? So you guys get to hear the process of how a podcast is made as well. Tone, do you have anything that's like a, I don't know if I want a ding, but something not too long, but kind of a, have you guys been listening to? No, that is not fun enough. We need something fun, like a bell or like a.
Let's see what we got.
Or didn't you have like a record, like a record scratch or something? No, that's not positive enough. We want something more positive. Less long, more of a one more. So what I'm trying to do here, folks, is and again, this is something I just kind of having this conversation. Excuse me, finding those points where I feel, because right now I'm listening to your story, but what I'm hearing is I'm hearing things that I feel are universal to small business owners. So the first thing was having that support group, right?
Yep, 100%.
The second thing that I heard, and so what I want to do, Tone, is every time, and of course I'll give you a point or something, but like every time I hear one of those, I want to do like a ding or something like that,
Yeah.
so people can kind of like take that note. So the second thing I heard just now was, and as a real estate agent, as a realtor, I don't think people think of me as a small business quite as much as they would think of your business as a small business.
Right.
But it still is very much where you're working for yourself.
Absolutely.
And you end up giving so much more than 40 hours a week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's, and when people say, "Oh, you're giving up your 9 to 5," you're like, "Yeah," but my joke as a realtor is I'm always working and I'm never working. You know what I mean?
No, it's
because you
absolutely.
are always like if somebody needs something, and you know, unless it's something, you drop everything and you go to help, you know.
Yep.
And you're putting in that time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and a lot of times it feels like you're putting in time for no pay.
Yeah.
You're it's you know, and that's kind of what I'm hearing is just, especially starting out. You do that all the time starting out, where you're just like, and then nothing against your friends, they were helping you realize that this could actually become something.
Yes.
But if you didn't go through that process of doing those favors for your friends for little or no pay,
Yeah.
you never would have thought, oh man, this could become something. This could become my livelihood.
Right, 100%. You know, and that's the thing is, you know, it's just like anything, you got to pay your dues. You know, there's no, I remember as a kid, or not as a kid, but when my kids were younger, they were probably like, I think my daughter was 4 and the boys were 3, or Brooklyn was 3 and the boys were 2. And it was before derecho had hit, because I still had trees in my backyard and my patio was covered in leaves.
For those of you that don't know what the derecho was, that aren't from Cedar Rapids, we had a literal land hurricane.
Yes.
In 2020, we had, what was the straight?
A straight line, about 120 to 130 mile an hour winds for an hour straight, which
So it was like, what they said, what I remember they said was with tornadoes, it was like a tornado will pick a spot to hit and pick a spot to hit and with us it was like
Pick the whole state.
the whole city. Well, I mean,
a lot of it anyway. Yeah.
From our perspective, it was just Cedar Rapids, like the whole
Yeah.
city just got hit with these straight line winds
Yes.
for about 40, 45 minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
So that
was-
was just had to throw in because if you're in Cedar Rapids, you know what the derecho is. If you're listening and you live in Oregon or something, you might not know the
talking
derecho.
crazy talk. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, yeah, go on. So when you remember it was pre-derecho because you still had trees.
Yeah, the kids were outside playing, and they're like, "Dad, can we help like sweep or rake?" And I was like, "This is a fun opportunity for a little video." So I pulled my video camera out, and I remember making the comment, "Oh, no free lunches here at the Miller house. Hey, you missed a spot," and they're sitting there. I've got two, anywhere from ages 2 to 4, whatever they were, out there raking and sweeping and stuff like that. And it was funny, but in the grand scheme of things, it's true. There's no such thing as a free lunch. So like, when I was working at, my previous job, you've got that guaranteed pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you considering everything, it was a good paying job. And the thing is sometimes you're more comfortable with the devil you know than the devil you don't, right? So when you're working and you're grinding and you're just trying to survive the day, it just got to a point where that's not how I wanted to live my life anymore. And I was so desperate. And this next part, I do not recommend anybody doing this. Do not do this. But I went out and I bought a $15,000 smoker without telling my wife.
Oh no.
Do not do that. Okay. Luckily, I'm still married, and my wife is very supportive of me. But yeah, I had one. I contacted a guy.
She's like, well, you did it. You better do something with it then.
Probably with a few more expletives than that, but yeah, that was pretty much the deal. Was I found a dude that I had been following down in Mission, Texas, and we're talking like 5 to 10 minutes from the Mexican border, and I absolutely loved everything he was building. I contacted him. I got it financed. I got everything. My wife was like, "What is the? Where did I get a thing about our credit report?" Oh, don't worry about it. I was just checking something. And then eventually, I probably within a week of that, I was like, "Babe, I kind of did something." And she was like, "What were you thinking?" I said, and I was honest. I said, "Kim, I was so desperate to get out of the situation that I'm in." I said, that come hell or high water, I was making this decision. I said, and I apologize that I didn't include you in this, but I was like, I'm so miserable that I have to. I didn't feel like I was making any headway in my thoughts and my dreams, and I was like, I got to make this happen, otherwise, I'm just going to be doing this until I retire, and I'll be miserable.
Yep.
So it was one of those things where, that was kind of the first linchpin in 100% making that decision that this is what I'm going to do. And this would have been I picked up the smoker in end of March of 2023. Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, it feels like, it feels like I haven't known you that long, but I remember when you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a pin in the story, because I feel like episode 2 is the crossroads.
Love it.
You specifically talked about the devil versus devil, and it made me think about the crossroads, and I was like, that's going to be episode 2. So we'll go to the next phase. But what I do want to kind of, talk a little bit about is just so, and I think that this is and not to get, hopefully, I know that sometimes people have a hard time, especially holding together with this, so hopefully you're okay. But, the one thing that I think one thing that you hear a lot is, what's your why? So what's your why? And I could probably guess what it is, but,
Happiness, family.
Yeah.
There's so much wrapped up into the decision to do what I do. Because the thing is, all you got to do is look at Facebook or look in the paper, watch the news. How many small businesses are closing? and how absolutely terrifying that is. But, you know, having conviction in what you're doing and really loving what you do. And, you know, I don't want to say doing anything that it takes, but doing anything that it takes to continue to push forward and meeting the right people at the right time. I've had so many blessings in my life that, you know, I met the right person at the right time. Obviously, I met my wife, and she's been my rock. Because I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. If it wasn't for a lot of the things that she does behind the scenes, Back 40 Barbecue doesn't happen, because I'm the cook, I'm the pit master, I'm the creative force behind this stuff. But she is the organizer, she is the paperwork, she is all the things that allow me to do what I do. I think one of the biggest things is knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses and being willing to admit those things to yourself, because I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. And I'm not, you know, one of my good buddies who does some property management stuff, Dave Lynch, you know, told me, Matt, you need to understand what you're good at and what you're not. And the things that you're not good at, you need to find the person that is good at it.
You got that tone yet, Tone? Hit it.
No, I don't have it yet.
Oh, dang it.
Wing, wing, wing.
We'll have it by the end. We'll have it by the end of the podcast, and then because I've just got, yep. So because I'm hitting them up. So oh shoot, what did you just say? Know your strengths. Know your strengths. That was one.
Yeah.
So you know, and then one that I picked up again, and I think it's just every time I kind of sit here and listen, it's every time I have an epiphany. That's what it is. And the other one was, so you can say, and I understand, and I don't want to be negative about anybody that is out there supporting their family, because that's huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, people make so many sacrifices to support their family.
Yeah.
And I think that if you asked most mothers or fathers or mothers what their why is, 99% are going to say my family.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
But the one that I picked up on after that was happiness.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, there's some people that can say, well, that's selfish. And I would say, no, absolutely not. Because if your why is your family, and if you're not happy, that can end up being that can have a negative effect on your family.
That is exactly what I was going to say. They're one and the same for me, because the thing is when you're doing something that doesn't make you absolutely miserable when you come home and you just hate everything,
yep,
as opposed to when you come home or you are home and you're happy. And it allows me to be a better dad, to be a better husband, just to be a better person. You know, I'm not, it's unreasonable to have an expectation that anything that you do in your life is just every day is, you know, rainbows and gumdrops and everything is perfect. And
totally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I still have days that suck, you know, and that's just real. That's just, it's real, you know. But the thing is there are far more incredible days. You know, I'm able to make it to almost all my kids, not just sporting, but their practices. Like, yeah. I'm able to take my sons to flag football practice, to attend their basketball games and their football games, and, you know, my daughter's dance practices and her recitals and all that stuff. And, you know, we did daddy-daughter dance here when we had her recital here. And it's like the opportunity to be able to do those things and not have to worry about, oh my God, am I going to be able to get this day off? Mm-hmm. You know, are they going to accept my request off? Yes, I accept my own request off.
Yes.
Okay.
I forget about like, especially my wife. I'm sure she gets frustrated with me because I totally forget about like PTO.
Oh yeah.
I was like, just take the day off. She's like, I can't. I've already figured out where my PTO is. You know.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing is like, and you know, my wife has as far as flexibility has some flexibility in her job, which is definitely a benefit. But you know, me being able to do more things, to pick the kids up when it's needed, and to take them to an activity or take them to school in the morning. Like this morning, you know, my daughter had choir practice at 7:10 in the morning, so I'm able to do that, and then she's able to get the boys off.
I think the funny thing is I think, and I just from listening to Tone's schedule, I think all three of us well, I think the two of us, but I think that all three of us are in the same boat when it comes to that kind of stuff, like taking the kids to school, making sure that like that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, my wife, she works at Raining Rose, and she was out the door at 6:45 this morning.
Yep.
You know, so it's just like this is so. I got one more question for you, and then we're gonna kind of wrap up episode 1. But you know, I'm excited to start this process with you. I'm excited to kind of watch you go through the process, and I'm going to be learning just as much as you're going to be learning, I feel like, because yes, I'm a commercial realtor, but I've only been doing that for a year, and I would by no means, I'm hoping to get a commercial realtor as a guest in here who has some serious experience at some point here in over the next few episodes. But so I'm excited to go on this kind of journey with you. What, if anything, have you thought about? Is there anything you hope to like glean from kind of going through this and having these conversations and whatnot?
Well, the thing is anything and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. The older I get, the less I know. Just, you know, you hear that a lot, but it's so true. That I have learned that if I look at every engagement that I have with somebody new as an opportunity, as a learning opportunity, because I've met some really cool people through the business, through this process, and I've had some events that have not been the greatest based off of, you know, me not asking enough questions and knowing. And you look at it and you could be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But no, I don't. I look at it as, okay.
Yep.
I did everything that I could on my end as far as the food was on point. I made enough X, Y, Z. Did I ask enough questions? Did I pick a first year event? Did I, you know, to where, you know, whoever's organizing the event doesn't, you know, they really don't know. So, you know, those are all things that I've learned. And I think that meeting new people and hearing new perspectives, and it can do nothing but help me because I don't have a degree.
Yeah.
I didn't go to business school, right?
Sure.
So I went to the school of hard knocks, and that's how that's kind of, I'm surprised my head's not flat from beating my head against the wall.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And I think I think that's the point, and that's one of the things that I really want to really stress to anyone out there listening is what I like about doing this with you is I don't think either of us are subject matter experts on anything outside of the business we've been conducting for the last X amount of years. You for about 3 years, me, I've been doing, I know residential real estate all day long. No problem. Commercial real estate, I'm not a subject matter expert yet.
Right.
And so, but I think the important thing is that as two people that are not subject matter experts, maybe in what it takes to start and run a small business, listeners out there can understand that we aren't two people that are up there saying, well, this is what you got to do and blah, 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 blah. And we know what it is. And we've got the key. We've got the special formula. Nope. It's just going out there. It's doing it.
Grinding.
Probably making mistakes along the way, but learning. But I think that, you know, I started this episode with the question of how do I do it? And to pull something from Nike, you just do it.
Yep.
And you might be successful and you might not, but instead of paralysis by analysis, you just jump in and you just start doing it, and you're gonna make mistakes, but hopefully eventually you have more successes than failures. That's
Absolutely.
what gets you there, right?
Heck yeah.
So,
Heck yeah.
So we're gonna kind of close up episode 1 of the process, 12-part series where we talk we follow a small business through the process of what it takes to start, run, operate, and become successful. But I do have 2 things, and I don't know if I'm going to do this every episode. I'd like to, but I'm a movie guy, and I also, books are a great resource for knowledge. So one book, I'll go with my book of the episode so far. I think I gave Tone did I give you one of these, Tone? And Matt, I'm going to give you one of these, but this is, I don't know if you guys can see this, but The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann. This was a book that I received within 2 months after I got my real estate license, and that I absolutely love it because it makes you approach your business from a mindset of giving, and it has to be truly, you're truly coming from a place of giving. It's not what can I give so that I may receive.
Right.
It's more how do I come at my profession with an open heart, willing to give information, give time, give whatever, and feel good about giving that, not expecting something back. And
Right.
and the surprising thing is, I don't know if it's karma, I don't know what it is, but usually that goodwill does come back to you in return. But the point of that book, and the thing that I always think it's hard for people to get past, is that's not the purpose. The purpose is to, you know. And then the second thing is, and Matt does have a food truck now, and we'll talk more about that in the second episode. But my movie of the episode is, if you have not seen it yet, it's probably one of my favorite movies of the last 10, I think it's less than 10 years old, is Chef. Have you seen Chef with Jon Favreau?
No, I want to say that I started to watch it because I keep getting browbeaten, but
It's so
by
good.
Zach.
Yes. Yeah,
So
of course. Yeah.
I think that's something that
we
if I
should
have a
do
little bit
our
of time.
we
Yeah.
do movie nights. We should do one of our movie
night
nights
with the
Yes.
chef. Yeah,
Yep,
and then we have
it's
to
so
follow it up
good.
by something crazy to
Yeah.
wash that normal taste out of our mouth.
Exactly. But yeah, Chef Jon Favreau, you guys can look it up. You'll find it. It's pretty easy to stream. It's a fantastic movie. But all right, so that is it for episode 1 of The Process. If you got all the way through it, thank you for listening. I hope that you can't wait to hear our next episode. Again, Tim Nash, Skogman commercial out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm here with Matt Miller with Back 40 Barbecue. Matt, if people hear this, like, so it's October of 2024, you got any big events between now and November?
We've got a few food truck things. Nothing massive. I do have, I've got weddings. I've got a lot of catering stuff right now. With weather changing, barbecue season. Okay, first of all, there is no barbecue season. It's always barbecue season.
That's right.
But it's winding down for big events and things like that. But I've got a wedding next month for 450 people.
When's
But
your
yeah.
when's the next time you'll be out? When can we usually expect you out by Sweet Cheesecake and Marion?
So usually I try to be there on Thursdays. I was there this last Thursday. Was a great day. I've been so busy with other caterings, and my food truck's been, wasn't running as much as what I would have liked it to be, but kind of I never want to say that I'm a one-man band, but I do all the cooking. So,
Yeah.
Time is limited. So, I've been doing a lot of catering, a lot of corporate events, things of that nature. I had a wedding this last weekend, but, I know this Wednesday we'll be in Manchester at the hospital doing a food truck thing there, but hopefully we'll be back at Sweet Cheesecake either this Thursday or next Thursday. Kind of depends, because we've got all kinds of fun stuff happening.
Yep. So if you listen to this episode and you are in the area, so northeastern Iowa, and you want to try some of Matt's barbecue, you can often find him on Thursday afternoons behind Sweet Cheesecake in Marion, which is right there off 7th Avenue. And you can follow me at Tim Nash Realtor on Instagram. I know you can find Back 40 Barbecue on Facebook. You got a pretty active following on Facebook.
Yes,
so, yep.
yes. We, that's generally where I'm going to post stuff. I think we were at about 750 followers now. So,
Yep.
Hoping to get to 2,000 by the end of the year, kids. So
Let's do it. Let's make it. Hey, let's set that goal. Let's make that happen.
absolutely. But follow me there.
And we're recording out of T1 Entertainment. So thanks, Tone, for hooking that up.
Thank you,
really
Tone,
appreciate
man.
it. And we will talk to you all next time for episode 2 of The Process, entitled The Crossroads.